Hi everyone, and welcome to Wales English, the Inside Scoop. Today's scoop is going to be how to teach online in China. So, if you're looking at this video, you may or may not know very much about teaching online. My goal is to give you some insights today into the skills you need, what you need to do, and how to make it successful. Every company in China is going to be different. They're all going to have their own platforms. They're all going to have their expectations. I started teaching ESL 10 years ago in Ontario, Canada. I thought I knew how to teach ESL, but the skills that I learned, some of them were translated into teaching online, but really some of them weren't, because you're not in a classroom. You're in a virtual box where suddenly that child has to understand what you're saying and they're not in the room. So how do you engage a lesson? How do you engage a student when you're doing that? Well, the first thing to remember is 70-30 is the ratio that works. 70% of everything you say, the student's probably not going to understand. So that means you have to equate those 70% of your words with something visual. It could be a hand action. Hi, I'm so happy to see you here today. High five, great job today. That was awesome. So you can use hand gestures. You can use your facial expressions. The other thing that comes in handy are visual props. You can have animals, you can have puppets. Kids love puppets. The other option that you have is flashcards. You can get cards that have the colors with the words on the back. Maybe just a visual aid that you can use to give some meaning to the words that are coming out of your mouth. Also, your approach is going to be unique. Some companies are going to ask you to follow a very script, and that script has to be followed to the letter. That's where we're a little bit different at Wales. We provide you the content that you need. We provide you the PowerPoint lesson. We show you what we want you to cover, but then it's up to you to decide how to deliver that curriculum. It's not necessarily going to be scripted. We're not going to say you have to say apple, apple, apple. Can you say apple? But we're going to assume that you know how to do that. In other words, you have some game. You have the ability to teach online. That's really, really important. We want you to use TPR. We want you to use videos, for example. You'll notice that I have a playlist here on this channel that has tons of useful ESL videos that you can use. Some of the other tricks you can do is have a binder with your students all listed in them that you're going to be teaching. Write down in your binder week after week, what are you going to do next week? What are some things happening in their lives that you're going to remember? My students, their class gets a name. They are the superheroes, the pretty princesses. Whatever makes them feel unique gives them an identity. Then they feel like they belong to a special place. You'll want to have a background, some kind of a classroom atmosphere that's not too busy, but just busy enough. Something that has your name on it. Maybe you want to use a whiteboard. If you're using Zoom to teach, which we do at Wales, there's a virtual whiteboard that makes it really seamless for you to be able to do that. Rewards are huge. In China, the kids love rewards. Well, most kids actually do. Even in my classroom experience, kids loved rewards. So come up with something unique, something that's going to show the kids that they've made success and that you're giving them, whether it's an ice cream cone with more ice cream scoops or even a superhero, and every time they do great, they get Iron Man and Captain America. The number one rule that I have is don't correct your students all the time. Choose what you are looking for them to learn. Choose what they need to correct. And the rest can be wrong, because the only way you can learn a language is by talking and having practice to do so. So I always warn my parents ahead of time that I'm not going to be correcting everything they say so that they don't get upset that I'm not being a good teacher. Also, I mentioned previously about Dragon Parents. Dragon Parents is the name that they've given to parents that answer for their students all the time. One solution that works really, really well is once I know my students after a couple of weeks, I'll let the parent know that from now on, They can't say an answer till I count to 5. And when I get to 5, almost every single time before I hit 5, the student has answered. The more I do this, the more the parent realizes their child is fine and they stop answering. That's just another helpful tip. Make sure that you review past lessons at the beginning of a lesson. Go over what they should have known so that they have that knowledge, bringing fresh back memories of the week before. I love to have my students take turns when they're reading the different options. I teach them how to use different voices for different characters. I try not to stop them when they're reading, but I'll underline a word that's wrong, and then at the end of the passage, we go back to correct any mispronunciations in what they read. Last tip, try to use as few words as possible. Especially when they're first learning, you're going to get 3 types of students. You're going to get the 0, they don't understand a word you're saying students. Then you have the other ones, the second group are called book smart, and is what I call them. Those are students that have learned to read and write in English, but they don't speak or understand. And the third group are the students who already know enough English to understand, speak, read, and write. So when you're first starting out, try to figure out what level they're at and use the amount of words appropriate for where their understanding is. Regardless of what you're doing and who you're teaching for, make your teaching fun. The kids want to come and have a good time with you. They are already working hard in school all day long. They want to come to a safe learning environment where their teacher is waiting for them. And every time I open my camera, my students are already there. Hello, dear teacher. Guess what happened at school today? So they can't wait to see me. They can't wait to talk to me. And honestly, I can't wait to talk to them too. This is the world you're coming into, and you're going to love it. Just have fun. Until next time.